Hey, yo, what's up, guys? So the situation in Minneapolis is just getting crazier and crazier as the days go by. And these protesters are getting more and more emboldened. And honestly, after this recent shooting that occurred in Minneapolis a couple hours ago, I honestly hope that Trump just invokes the Insurrection Act because the Dems are loving this. They are always looking for their, George Floyd, BLM 2.0, Summer of Love. And they thought that they had it with Renee Good, but, there was just too much mounting evidence against her after the officer released his camera footage. That said, this shooting occurred, like I said, 2 hours ago. And the video footage that I obtained, it looked like it was recorded across the street from like a coffee shop or a place of business. That said, it's kind of hard to make out what happened because there's just so much going on. There's about 7 agents. They're not ICE agents. They're actually border patrol. And I'm not sure if this was a targeted suspect or a protester that they were taking down. But anyways, let's just get into the video. I'm gonna play it once for you guys to watch. Every time you hear a beep, that is a gunshot, but I had to bleep that out. So, and then the second one, I'm gonna play it in slow motion and then just go through everything because it's just a lot of moving parts.
They doing too much, man, and they keep pushing people.
They killed my. Did they fucking kill that guy? Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Not again. Are you fucking kidding me? That guy's dead. Yo, we need people on site.
Okay, so let's just watch that in slow motion. The first thing I noticed was there was a canister that fell to the ground on the sidewalk. I'm not sure if he's reaching for it, but just take a look here.
They doing too much, man, and they keep pushing people.
Right here. Okay, so there's about like 3 agents that are, tackling him down and sprawling him on the floor, on the sidewalk. And then everything seems okay until right before the gunshots. Like, I don't know if you can see him. It's hard to see if he's making like trying to reach for something or, but it is reported that he had a gun on him. Okay, so this agent, starts hitting him. Okay. So when you hear the shots, uh the first shot is right around here. I think it's this officer on the far left here because I'm gonna lay it up. Okay. Right here, it looks like he has a piece in his hand right here. And then this next officer, he pulls out and he takes the next shot. Okay. And then this officer just comes out of nowhere and then he pumps him with like 6 shots.
They killed my. Did they fucking kill that guy? Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
Okay, so like I said, it's being reported that the suspect did have a gun. Now, but it's hard to tell if he was reaching for it, during the struggle. One thing I do have to note is there was actually a lady here, right here. She's recording everything from. So I'd be interested to see if she releases her video. I'm gonna assume she's a liberal. If there's something incriminating that the suspect was doing, like trying to reach for a gun, I don't know if she's gonna release that video, but it's gonna be interesting to see what she has on her footage. Yeah, like it's really hard to make out what's going on here because there's so many bodies and just so many moving parts. You can't really tell if he's reaching for something. Okay, so now let's go to the Fox News coverage to this breaking story.
Thank you, Mark Thiessen. We want to bring in Bill Malugin, who has been on this bill. I'm looking back at your emails since 10:37 a.m. this morning. We learned about this. You learned about it, rather, 20 minutes after this shooting took place. What are you learning this hour?
Yeah, Kaylee, good morning to you. So heard this happen a little after 10:15 Eastern time, and I'll start with what we do know. This was a Border Patrol involved shooting. This was not ICE. Border Patrol shot somebody who DHS tells Fox News was armed with a gun. They have recovered that gun as well as 2 magazines. Now, I'm told the person was shot multiple times and that medics were working on them and that CPR was being performed. There is a video floating around online of the shooting where you can see this shooting happening. What we do not know right now is what led up to the shooting or what type of enforcement this was. Was this a targeted immigration enforcement? Did Border Patrol know who this person was? Was it somebody in the U.S. illegally that they were marking for arrest? Was this a protester? Was this an agitator? Was this a U.S. citizen? Those are the questions we don't know right now. Obviously, when something like this happens, information is coming out very quickly, and there's all sorts of differing reports. But what we can confirm is that Border Patrol agents did, in fact, shoot somebody in Minneapolis this morning, and DHS tells Fox News that person was armed with a gun. You're looking at images of that gun right now. The gun was loaded and had 2 separate magazines. So we do not have an update on that person's condition just yet. I'm working the phones, working the sources to find out exactly what led up to this, who this person was, how it all went down. But you can see from the live images, obviously this is going to turn into a powder keg situation. You've got politicians putting statements out already. You got people gathering to protest. You got, federal agents and police trying to hold those folks back. As information starts to develop on this shooting throughout the morning, you're going to have more and more people showing up at the scene here, and this is likely going to turn into another scene of heated protest today based off what we've seen in Minneapolis the last couple of weeks, Kaylee. But going to continue working the phones. All we can confirm right now, Border Patrol shooting, 1 suspect down, and gun recovered.
And, we're looking at that image there of the weapon that the individual who was shot had. You just noted, I had read that there were 2 magazines there, but this is a loaded weapon?
That is what some of the initial reports are. I'm not going to 100% confirm that yet. All I can 100% confirm is that a gun was recovered, and that agents have that gun and that the suspect was armed.
And one final question for you. Governor Walz' statement, I just spoke with the White House after another horrific shooting by federal agents this morning. Minnesota has had it. This is sickening. Out right there, he said he spoke with the White House. Was it Secretary Noem who said she had an open line of communication with Walz? I recall there was a cabinet secretary that said they were in touch with Walz through the Renee Good shooting as well.
Yeah, I believe it was Secretary Noem. And then keep in mind, VP J.D. Vance was just out there in Minnesota the other day, and there were reports that he met with Minnesota AG Keith Ellison, and they had a pretty frank conversation about immigration enforcement in the state. So there does appear to be some lines of communication between the federal government and Minnesota here, despite all of the, all of the criticisms we see going back and forth between the two of them. But look, Haley, I mean, this is going to be, the second incident of a shooting involving a federal agent, actually the third shooting involving federal agents in Minneapolis in recent weeks. Obviously, we had the shooting of Renee Good. Then we had the shooting where DHS alleged that several Venezuelan illegal aliens attacked an agent with a shovel, leading to a shooting. That one was not fatal. We're waiting to find out if this was a fatal shooting. Last check was the person was having CPR performed on them with medics on scene. So, and that's the thing that the local politicians in Minnesota are complaining about, is they're saying, the shootings that are happening right now are federal agents. DHS will counter that, well, if you would cooperate with us and work with us and give us the criminals in your jails, then we wouldn't have to be out doing roving patrols in the community looking for these illegal aliens.
Okay, so he's being 100% correct. Because ICE during the Obama administration, there was a level of cooperation, coordination between local law enforcement and ICE. But ICE during the Trump administration, they're just being demonized as Nazis, fascists, Gestapo. Then you got to look at the mainstream media. What was the coverage like during Obama's administration? You do know Obama was labeled as the deporter in chief because he deported over 5 million illegal migrants. Okay, Trump doesn't even come anywhere near close to that number. Yet the coverage of Obama was, very, very, very nice from the mainstream media. They didn't demonize him. They didn't make him out to be the bad guy. Everything was pretty quiet. Honestly, I don't remember anything negative said about Obama during his deportation of illegal migrants. And then we got to look at the protesters. Many of them who are paid Where were they when Obama was deporting 5 million people? Do you think of those 5 million illegal migrants that they just self-deported themselves? Or do you think they were fighting? They weren't going out quietly. But there was actually absolutely zero coverage of that stuff. It's only because this is Trump, you're seeing a bias in the mainstream media. And that's why no one watches the mainstream media these days. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.